right? So I have a little URL that I can click on here, and this is the application. That's all it does, right? Nothing too fancy. That's what it was built to do. So let's kick it up a notch here, because that's not what we're trying to build. We want to make something a little more interesting, right? So we're going to have a conversation. So we're building a chatbot. We're going to carry a chat with our chatbot builder chatbot, I guess. I don't know how many times I can put that in a sentence. Next one. Please make this app present a simple HTML form that asks the user for an input and sends that to the server. Right, so if I run this back to, spilling the beans here already. So if I run this on Gemini, right, same conversation that we have here, that's the important part. You need to kind of, if you want to carry a conversation, you need to be able to reference back to a message that you exchanged in the past. So if I send this one, it's going to spit out some new code here. And I'll do like before, just a quick explanation on what this does. So if you don't know any of this, don't worry. Basically saying you can present some information, that's the get, and you can also send information to the server, that's the post. Whenever we receive information, that's going to come in this field called user input, and then it's going to use this other form HTML. This is a new addition. So now it also gives me the HTML that I need for the application. So it's not only Python code, it's generating the HTML portion of it as well. And that little field there is user input here, right? So basically, once we send the whatever text here, it's going to send to our application, and then as a result, we'll be displaying that basically, right? So if I go back, I have already my second cake ready here. So let me just cancel this one, and now let's run prompt 2. And actually, we'll start the one, and then just to show you this code here, very similar to what was there. I have get and post, and if I go into this little templates area here, I have a index to HTML that's similar to what was there as well. So now it allows me to actually send in some information, right? So I have a little field here. So let's say, what's your name? Your name is Ricardo. Submit. Hello, Ricardo. That's as basic as it gets. But now we're exchanging information with our bot here. And I haven't written a single line of code, still just copy and paste here. Let's get rid of this, get rid of this. So we had a third prompt here, right? So next one, let's explain a little better what we need. And this is the, let's say, the magical prompt. This is where things are going to start looking a little bit better. So back to Gemini, and I'll send that one prompt in. The code's going to grow probably by a little bit now. So this is the new code, and the main thing here, it has some, there's this new function called getBotResponse. It's all hard-coded. So if I say hello, it's going to always reply the exact same way. So it's not generating anything yet, right? But this is an important part for our application. So if I go back, just kind of, again, to demonstrate a little bit, let's run our prompt 3 so you see what's happening. Let me keep honest on time here. So, oh, we're doing super good on time. So I'm going to slow down here. So prompt 3 running now, right? Similar thing, now it has this little chatbot header because I said we're building a chatbot. So let's just say hello, and it says hello back, right? So hi there. I don't know if this is gonna work. How are you? I don't know what you're saying, because it has a very limited number of sentences that it can understand. It's basically doing a conditional check. Everything is fixed on this little bot. Now, so this is kind of up to this point. Let's call it the magic of Gemini code generation. The really cool thing is that, let me get rid of this. We have now the option to integrate, let's say, Google's Pixie Dust or Google's Magic into it. If you're using just Gemini.com, you don't have this option. I'm using AI Studio, which is kind of like a Gemini on steroids, so to speak. And just to show you, it gives me a lot more options, right? So this is AI Studio. I have the prompt, but I also have this left side here. This is the beauty of it. I'm actually using Gemini 2. It was just announced Wednesday or Thursday, basically, became available to everybody. It gives me a lot more controls, but this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not touching anything at the bottom. I'm looking for this here. So if I click on that get code, now what I have is actually another application, but integrated with Gemini. So with this code here, I can actually connect my bot that we built with Gemini. So I can ignore everything that's at the middle here. All I need is this line here. This is how I send a message to Gemini. And then at the beginning, basically, oops. Let's go back there. Where was I? Oh, I lost that prompt. Okay, so cooking show. Let's take this one, get code. So what I need is at the top here, the imports, and then this configuration, right? So I need to initialize the model, and I need to import. So this one was something that I had before that I was using 1.5, and somewhere in here is probably the one that I was just doing right now. So which one would be? One of these, maybe. I don't know if it's, I don't think it was in my library. Or maybe this. Yeah. So if I copy this whole code, right? So copy this whole thing, go to our code there. And again, I have this here built. So this was the third prompt. Oh, sorry, not the HTML, we want the prompt. Right, so what I need to do is basically, and I'm going to do on this one here, but I'll also show on the finished apps, just so I don't need to kind of troubleshoot anything, and I know that everything is working. Just to mark where I'm going to do our surgery here. So this is the code that I got from getCode, right? A couple imports. We're configuring Gemini. We need to set the key, like I said before, in the environment variable. So I have this one already set up here. We can use all the default configurations, and now we're using Gemini 2. We don't need any history. We can start this here empty the way that it is. We do need to move these to where we generate the response. So I'm going to remove this from here. And where we have this get bot response, I don't want to do this part here. And let's do something like this, right? So this one, I can delete this one, but then this user input, oh, too much. User input is going to be this variable from the top here, right? So this is exactly what we're receiving from the user. And then this part here, the response though, is going to be actually we can do response.text. That's what we had on the print before, right? So just to double check that, there was response.text. That's what this code here is printing. So that's what we want to send back whenever we're running the application. Right, so I can try to be brave and run prompt 3 again with those changes. Why not? Oh, it worked, loaded. So let's see. Didn't crash yet. So hello. Let's make this a little bigger. That's a little bit different. So a couple of things that I like to play here. What's your name? And usually spills the bean, right? There you go. So we are talking to the model built by Google and so on. So now our chat app is actually connected to Gemini. Just a few copy and paste little stitches in the application here, and we have this connected, right? And then kind of super plain, I could end here and call it a day, but why if we still have maybe a few more minutes, right? So let's do few more things here. Then I'm going to switch back to the whole baking show again, right? So a little bit of our own pixie dust or salt bake here now. And then our application should look like something like this, right? So the main things that I'm going to change, and just to show again a little bit on the fast track here, I have a little diff file. So diff is basically showing the difference between two applications that I have, right? So the arrow pointing to the right is lines that I inserted, exactly what we just did here. There's one new thing here that we haven't done yet, is markdown. It's just to do a pretty print on our block. And then towards the, well, there's some other changes on the HTML. That's the bulk of the changes. On the Python code, the only thing truly that I did was this markdown, which then as part of the response, I return, instead of just response.text, I return the markdown pretty print version of the print or the response. And that's because Gemini has a tendency of responding in Markdown, depending on the size of the response that you're getting back. So just to show that, teach me to bake a cake. Let's get that bigger. Oh, it didn't go. It's going to look horrible to read, right? So right now, it will be very hard for you to make sense of what's here. Are we on time? We're good? We're good. Okay. So that markdown basically does the pretty print of the response. And my final version of the application is this other module called main.py. We still need to deploy this to the cloud, so let me just run main.py so you see what it looks like. And again, this is running, let's say, locally, right? I'm using Google Cloud to do all my dev work, so it's running, I'm building in the cloud to deploy to the cloud later. So teach